Today is July 31st, 2022, and this is your daily Half-Life 3 update. There is no news about Half-Life 3. So something I feel like we're not talking about that much is just how disappointing It Chapter 2 really was. I feel like it might have killed any momentum this could have had for to be a franchise. Because I remember they were talking about doing a supercut of It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, and that hasn't happened. And then there was like talk about other stuff like maybe like a movie being a prequel. I see that there's talk maybe of a prequel series on like HBO Max, which maybe that happens, who knows. But I don't know, like, is it just me or has interest just kind of died off after the second movie? I remember back in the day, 2017, when It Chapter 1 came out, that movie was really popular. Like, I saw that movie everywhere. You know, everyone was talking about it. And I just don't see people talking about these movies as much. And if they are talking about it, they're probably talking about the first one. Which, I just want to, like, do an aside. I don't like making this video because It and Saw are literally like the two worst movie titles for just casual conversation. Like, I like both these movies, but they're just terrible to talk about because of their titles. You know, Saw 2 is better, It Chapter 2 is better, but you can't talk about a movie called It. You can't say, well, what do you go watch in theaters? Oh, I saw the first Saw movie. Like, I saw Saw. It was a good movie. I saw it. Anyway, I got off track there, but I just hate those movie titles. They're the worst. But I feel like there were probably two reasons why It Chapter 2 didn't work quite as well. The story was a mess, too, by the way. A lot of it was pointless and meaningless. The whole individual search for their MacGuffins and so they can do some ritual, and the ritual's fake, and their flashbacks are meaningless. A lot of the movie is meaningless and pointless, in my opinion. But two reasons why it wasn't as good, I think. And first, and this is probably the biggest reason, which I didn't even know this until I looked it up today. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Cary Fukunaga. He was originally supposed to direct and write the first It. I don't know if it was going to be one or two movies when he was involved, but he was originally involved, and then he dropped out as a director. But they did keep his script and rewrite it, so he is credited as a writer for It Chapter 1. He is not credited as a writer for It Chapter 2. So I wonder if that's the main difference between these two movies. It's just the fact that he is not involved at all in It Chapter 2. That could very well be the main reason why It Chapter 2 didn't do as well. I feel like the second reason is I think some of the people behind making these movies were a little surprised with how well It Chapter 1 was received. I think they saw, oh wow, people really like It Chapter 1, people really like this younger cast, so I feel like that caused them to bring back the younger cast for the second chapter, which they didn't need to do. And I also wonder if it made them lean towards the heavier casting for the adults, and you know, maybe like potentially stunt casting for the adult version, because it's somewhat of a stacked cast, really. You look at Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, and Bill Hader. Those are well-known people. So I wonder if there's a scenario where they wouldn't have cast as well-known actors as those three for the main roles, or maybe just James McAvoy to play the lead, and then the rest be lesser known. I mean, they were good casting, but I feel like the one everyone talks about is how spot on the older version of Eddie was, and you know, he wasn't really all that well known. Honestly, I don't know if he's. I'm sure he's been in other stuff, but I can't think of anything else that he's been in or that I've seen him in. But yeah, I wonder that. I wonder if it forces them to just not do as much. I mean, if it forced them to maybe think about casting more well-known people. I can only assume they had a higher, uh, a bigger budget for the second one as well. I just feel like they did more and they didn't need to do more. It was kind of disappointing. Definitely the highlight of both the movies was Bill Skarsgård. Pretty sure I got the right Skarsgård there. He was great as Pennywise. He was. I mean, that was the main thing. I remember people talking about how his Pennywise was going to compare to Tim Curry, and they basically just ended up doing two completely different things. But yeah, I wasn't as pleased with It Chapter 2. It's so long, and it's so much of it is just unnecessary, just doesn't go anywhere, and it really bothered me because they had to force the kids back into the movie, and so there's the whole plot line of like, oh, you don't remember everything, you need to remember what you've forgotten, and they remember what they've forgotten, and what they forgot isn't significant at all. It's not important. The fact that they're remembering these things that they forgot doesn't change the plot of the movie. It's just an extra Pennywise scare that they had forgotten. And it wasn't all that important at all. And the lack of turtle, too. There was a noticeable lack of turtle in this movie. But, you know. That has been your daily Half-Life 3 update for August 31st, 2022.